Hey everybody, and welcome to Cheap Comic Collector. Got a little bit of a different episode today. This is what I consider a very special episode. Um, and I will get started here in just a second. Let me turn this around. A few books we're going to be looking at today, and we'll get to showing some books too. But first, we're going to show this one. If you're watching the live show on Saturday a few weeks ago, if you watched to the very end, I was doing some unboxings that had arrived during the show. And one book I didn't want to show, that's this book. And the reason I didn't want to show it is because this is a present for Mike, Easy Comic Reader. And hopefully he didn't see enough of it where he realized what it was, because if he realizes what it was, he probably knows I'm going to send it to him. But I can record this because I'm going to send it out this week. By the time this airs, he'll have gotten it already. He may have even made an episode out of it already for all I know, by the time you guys see this. But this is Spectra number 7, 12-cent cover. It's from 1968, and this is the only issue he needs to complete his run. And I just wanted to send him this to thank him for all the support and love he has shown the channel and me over the past year. And he's been such a strong supporter of the channel and sending me books and buying my extra books and trading with me and just promoting the channel. And he doesn't just do it for me, he does it for everybody. He's a great asset to the community, and for him, he's just having fun, and that's part of what makes him so special. So we're going to send this to him. I'm not going to look through it too much, but I did want to show you guys what it was, since I couldn't show you on that live show on Saturday. Just beautiful cover. And the insides I'll flip through a little bit, but and I wanted to show you too, there's actually Spectra's only in about half this book, and the second half is taken up by Our Man, which apparently was a regular backup in Spectra that nobody ever talks about or sees, and that was pretty good. So, because I did read it last night, and but we're gonna ship that off to Easy, along with some other stuff that he's got coming. And I can't wait to see what his reaction is, because this is, he said a while back on Aaron's show that this is one he's been looking for quite a while. And I'm just so happy to be able to send it to him. I'm thrilled, really. So anyway, that's what that was. Apologize for not being able to show it to you on that Saturday. I wasn't expecting that's what would be in there. And but I was so excited to get it so I could send it to him. And then, speaking of kindnesses, that same show, I had these up for sale in my claim sale. It's the complete set of Hanna-Barbera All-Stars from Archie Comics that they published in 1995. And Ranger Sly purchased them and then gifted them to me because he knew that I would have liked to have kept them. But it was one of those books where it was like, do I keep it? Do I sell it? I have to include good books in the sales. If I kept everything that was good, then the sales wouldn't be very interesting. So so he bought these for me and asked me to keep them. And I just overwhelmed with people's kindness to me, and thank you. So another great supporter of the community. I know he sends stuff to people quite a bit, and just this community is so special with so many great people in it. It's just amazing. So anyway, I promised him that I would do a what am I reading video with these. So that's what this is to start with. We're going to go through these 4 issues. And if we have time, we'll go through some more books like we normally do. So, and this one, I'm not familiar with any of the creators that worked on this series. The first one's not credited, so it's hard to know. It's not even listed in the Grand Comics database who worked on this. And the the first cover here is I mean, it's okay. It's Yogi Bear. He's got a square butt, which is kind of weird. But then you see the stars up here, and most of like Quick Draw and his sidekick are not in this issue. Huckleberry Hound's up here in the window. He's not in this issue. So that's a little disappointing, that they put him on the cover and then they're not in here. But we do have Yogi Bear, Fred Flintstone, Magilla Gorilla, and this first story was good. It was funny. It's called Honey, I Lost the Kids. Starts off with they're basically grilling in the backyard, kind of picnicking or whatever. And maybe at a picnic grounds, I'm not sure. But Fred's grilling. He's got a smock on that says, "I'd rather be hunting and gathering." And I think the kids are missing. So he has Dino track the kids. So Dino's sniffing, snorting, sniffing, and he drags them off a cliff. They end up in the water. They go over a waterfall. They go out to sea. They get captured by pirates. They got to work for the pirates. Pirate ships gets wrecked by a whale. So they're on a raft that's Barney powered. He gets chased by a shark. They end up in a foreign country and get arrested, sentenced to death. They run. They get away. They're catapulted back home. And of course, the kids were just asleep under the bush, and they were there all the time. And Dino has a cold. That's why he's sniffing so much. So it was a very fast-paced story. It's quite short. All the stories in these are short because of it's a anthology book. They want to put as many characters in there as they can get. But it was well done. It was good. Had me smiling as they went from one ridiculous situation to the next, and the scripting is clever. It's well done. Yogi Bear, in his usual attempt to be helpful, Boo Boo's cousin is in the circus, and now he's making fun of him for being a failure. So they decide to convince him that he owns Jellystone Park, and so that happens. And of course, one thing leads to the next, and so forth. And then the ranger gets involved, and his superiors come and blow the whole story. And it's a cute story, kind of a pat ending. But it was cute. There's a Saturday ABC morning ad in here. I thought I'd seen all the cartoon ads that there probably were, but I hadn't seen this one before. And by then I probably would have been done watching cartoons because I don't recognize hardly any of these. New Adventures of Madeline, What a Mess, Keep Out Under Construction, Elmo in the Night, something called Fudge, Reboot, Free Willy, and Bugs Bunny and Tweety Show. They were still there, so I know them. And of course, Schoolhouse Rocks, but wasn't even aware, I don't think, of any of the other shows. I remember seeing ads for something to do with Madeline. I don't know if it was for that series or not, but everything else, I didn't even know there was a Free Willy series. And I hadn't even heard of the other ones, so after my time, I guess. And then they have like a 2-page comic news, Hanna-Barbera comic news in each one that's set up kind of like articles you would read in a paper, talking about what's happening in the various titles that they're that they're doing, because Archie got the Hanna-Barbera license, and I looked it up, and apparently they ran for a little while. This particular series only ran for 4 issues, but like Scooby Doo, they had a Scooby Doo series that ran for like 22 issues. I think Flintstones ran for 22 issues. So almost 2 years they had the license. Probably. And these were good. They put quite a bit of effort into these. So they got a couple of gag strips, one with Flintstones, one with Yogi Bear, which would have been the perfect opportunity to put, shoehorn some other characters into the book, but I guess they used what they had. And then there's a Magilla Gorilla story at the end as well, where Magilla Gorilla becomes a used car salesman, and that was funny. I had kind of forgotten what Magilla Gorilla was about, but I did use him as an intro to one of my claim sales recently, and that whole theme song was kind of running through my head as I was reading this, and of course that clued me into what the storyline is with him, where he's in the pet shop, and Mr. Peebles is always trying to get rid of him, and so I kind of brought back what the show was about for me. So good timing on this, and it was funny. It was funny. These are funny books. And then there's a Dino 1-pager in the back, and that's about it for the first issue. It was a good first issue. Flintstones was definitely the highlight of this first issue. The first Flintstones story was funny. I mean, nothing made me laugh out loud in this one, but I did laugh out loud once in this one. So this is number 2. And these are credited. They started doing credits with the second issue, so I don't know if it's the same artist or not. I don't think it is. It looks a little bit different to me, but sometimes it's hard to tell with cartoon art to recognize a style, because they're drawing in the cartoon style, that the characters are supposed to be in most of the time. So anyway, this was credited to Kirschenbaum, Haller, and Hill. I'm not recognizing any of those names as anybody I know. And this one's actually a little too similar to the first story in the last issue, and then reading this one right away to be as funny. But they're going camping. Fred and Barney are basically set out by themselves to prove to the girls that they can't survive without them in the wilderness. And of course, Fred and Barney get in trouble. They go down a waterfall again. They get lifted into the air by pterodactyls. Meanwhile, Wilma and Betty and the kids are doing perfectly fine on their own, and so they get fed to baby pterodactyls who spit them back out, and then they get stranded on this mountain. And eventually they end up back in the campground and rush to the rescue, because the girls are calling for help because there's a saber-toothed tiger, but it's just the kids in a saber-toothed tiger suit tricking, Fred and Barney into thinking that the girls need them. So, I mean, it was okay, but because of the craziness of their travels, it just, the humor was, it basically had the same joke as the last issue. So, and then there's an ad for street cruisers skates, talking about the toe stops done with the Archie characters. And then there's this 1-page ad that's basically for the Hanna-Barbera titles. And sorry, lost my thought. This ad is in the next 2 issues as well. and there's an ad here for what appears to be a very badly drawn Flintstone series that I'm not familiar with. Hopefully, it was canceled. um, and then the Yogi Bear story is done by Kirschenbaum, White, and Leon. Again, Kirschenbaum is the same name, so I assume it's the same writer. And this one is the one that actually made me laugh out loud for a second. Yogi Bear gets a hold of a CB radio, and he uses it to change to have food delivered to the park by the truckload. So he gets like a truckload of honey, and then a truckload of chocolate, and there's some lines in there that just it made me laugh out loud when I read them. So some funny stuff. Then they hear about crooks that are going to rob the orphanage, so they get the Rangers' help to go stop them, and yeah, it wraps up pretty quickly, like all these stories do. But good stuff, funny stuff. This whoever this guy is, Kirschenbaum is a good writer for these characters. One page gag of the Flintstones, just with a no hunting sign. The news comic, the Hanna-Barbera Comics News Centerfold. And then there was a couple of ads here for miniseries. They have a Tales miniseries. I didn't know what that was, so I looked it up. It was published, and apparently that's a character in the Sonic universe. I'm not familiar with the Sonic characters, but that's a Sonic related. And then they also had a Street Sharks 3-issue miniseries. So hadn't heard of either of those series before, so I found that interesting. There's a public service announcement with the Archie characters about how things should be accessible to the handicapped. And then there's a quick draw McGraw with Collins, White, and Leon. So same art team as the Yogi Bear story, but a different writer. And again, Quick Draw is not a character I ever watched. He was a little before my time, so I only know him from like his guest appearances in like the Yogi specials or things of that nature. I enjoy these characters, but I'm not necessarily all that familiar with them. I mean, I know Flintstones, Yogi Bear, Jetsons, of course, everybody does. But any of the characters before that, like Quick Draw and Huckleberry Hound and those characters, I'm not really that familiar with them except from like their appearances in specials and the Laugh Olympics and things like that. So anyway, Quick Draw and Baba Boy are on vacation at a dude ranch, and there's shenanigans going on, so they have to help with a cattle drive they don't know anything about, and end up getting hold of some bad guys at the same time. And it was good. It was a fun little story. It was quickly done. And it was fun. Like I said, in this one, the Yogi Bear story was the best. So, number 3, we got Fred Flintstone on the cover this time, or again, I should say. And it's spotlighting Yogi Bear, Magilla Gorilla, and Quick Draw McGraw. So hopefully they're. I read these all at once, so I think they're all in this issue. And it starts off with Kirschenbaum writing again. Their jobs are actually stated in this one. You got Kirschenbaum as the writer, Holler as the pencil, Paccio as the inker. Unfortunately, they're not using full names yet. But anyway, they're going skiing. Flintstones are going skiing, and this was pretty good, but mostly for the sight gags. You got kind of a caricature of Jerry Lewis as the bellhop. You got the snakes are the skis, so they talk. Pterodactyl as the chairlift. And so it was fun. Little adult humor in here when they cut to the manager's office at the hotel. The maid is actually on the desk and he's got lipstick all over his face. So um, just a few things thrown in there that as a uh, that if you were just a kid reading this, you wouldn't get, um, and you wouldn't recognize. In fact, I didn't even notice that there was that caricature of Jerry Lewis in there until just now when I was paging through it, because I was reading the word balloons. I didn't pay that much attention to what was the background until the snakes started talking and so on and so forth. But pretty good story. Barney scared because they don't know how to ski. Fred, too much of a man to need lessons, and so Barney's basically hugs a tree the entire time, because once he gets to the top of the ski slope, he's just going to sit there and hug the tree. He's not going to go anywhere else. And meanwhile, Fred gets mistaken for a famous skier and takes full advantage of it, and then gets in trouble because he can't ski. And then it ends with them going home, and they're towing the tree with Barney still holding it as they go home. So it was a cute story. It was fun. These are just fun. You got a McGilla Gorilla story, The Big Switch. This one was fun too. Wasn't as funny as I would have liked it to be, but it was a surprise because it starts out as just a regular McGilla Gorilla story. Mr. Peebles wants to get rid of him, and he finds this deal where they can trade your pet for a wild animal. So he makes the deal, and the wild animal that he gets is Yogi Bear. So fun stuff. So the Yogi Bear and McGilla Gorilla basically trade places, and of course Yogi Bear causes problems for Mr. Peebles, and McGilla Gorilla causes problems for Ranger Smith, and then they both at some point get launched into the air from explosions or what have you, and then as they're flying through the air, they just greet each other with a good morning, and then they land back in where they belong. So again, a quick roundup, but done in a funny way. Just good stuff. Good writing. Just good writing. And I actually started up a mail column. And it's pretty much of just random, this letter's talking about Flintstones #1 and such. So, and then Quick Draw McGraw. This one has a few funny instances in it as well. Quick Draw and McGraw and Baba Louie are chased out of town by criminals who want revenge for being arrested or whatever. Muttley makes an appearance right there in the crowd of bad guys. And so they get put into the witness relocation center. So this guy puts them into disguises so they can be relocated. Nobody will know who they are. And there's a Jetsons mask in the kit of disguises. He offers them a Spider-Man costume, and Quick Draw says no, because they refuses it because he doesn't want to look stupid. And then so they move to this town, and they're running the local 11-7, and guy shows up, wants to offer him insurance, and it's basically a protection racket. You got a caricature of Ralph Cramden fighting in the store, so forth and so on. So basically, it turns out because they are been relocated, the entire city is nothing but criminals who are under the witness protection program. So they're all crooks. So Quick Draw and Baba Louie want to run away, and the guy in charge doesn't want to let him, because then he's the one that gets picked on by the criminals. And then so he wants them to come back, and he's basically left there pleading for them to come back. And then Yogi Bear shows up, and so he's going to start putting Yogi Bear in as the dedicated guy for people to harass, I guess. And that's the end of the story. So um, just a clever, pretty clever little story. Just it's amazing how much they can fit into just 4 or 5 pages on these things. Top Cat gets star billing on the cover of number 4. This is the last issue, unfortunately. They only did 4 issues of this series. And it starts off with Top Cat, another character who I'm not real familiar with, but I know he's like the head of the Alley Cats. Basically, he's got his own gang, and so apparently, at least as far as I can tell from this story, the police officer is his nemesis, and this guy here is like the innocent in the group. So he gets the cop kind of tricks him into reporting on everything that Top Cat is up to, so he can get the goods on Top Cat and arrest him. And it almost happens, but they figure out what's going on and avert it. So fun story. Again, it was just fun. And then you got the Flintstones once again. Fred gets his own TV show where he gets to complain and talk about just how bad things are. So he has all these different guests come on and then accuses them of basically being a thief or some sort of scandalous behavior, and then they proceed to beat them up. This is the local librarian, the mayor, and TV show's a great success, but he gets beat up all the time. And then Wilma and Betty are at home with the kids, and the house catches on fire. Fred gets there before the firemen and manages to save everybody, and decides to give up showbiz because, he's actually happy at home. So, and again, just a cute little story. Fun. And then Yogi Bear on the last story is somehow he gets mistaken for a Ranger Smith and goes off to join the National Guard and proceeds to basically destroy the whole country, and then comes back as a general where he makes Ranger Smith do push-ups. And so that's pretty much it. So just fun stories in all of these. But I would say the highlights for me were the first Fred Flintstone story, and then the Yogi Bear one in issue number 2, where he gets the hold of the CB radio, and then the Magilla Gorilla story, where him and Yogi trade places, because it was just such a surprise to all of a sudden, oh, it's Yogi Bear. So just fun stuff, good times. Highly recommend these. These really, really make me want to check out the other Archie titles that they did with Hanna-Barbera, if I could find any of them. I didn't even know this title existed until I pulled it out of the box. So, so thank you, Ranger, very, very much for these. I will definitely keep my eye out for more. If I find these, any more copies of these, I will definitely get them to you. And so that's it. Let's see how much time we got left. Oh, we're almost at the full 30 minutes. Oh well, let me grab a handful of these, and then we'll finish them up tomorrow. Let's see. So these are a little bit different. These did not come from Whatnot. Oh my gosh, what's that you say? You're not whatnotting? Of course I'm whatnotting. It's just that sometimes I buy from other places. So these were from Hip Comics. And seller doesn't have his screen name on here, so I can't tell you which seller to look for right now, but he occasionally does an auction, and he occasionally has some older books or some good books. This particular auction, I got, they came out to $1.08 with shipping and handling. He didn't charge taxes, and everything was 99 cents except for the Batman Judge Dredd crossover, which isn't here anymore because I gifted it to Aaron. I paid a little bit more for that one, but it was still under $2. So these came out to $1.08, 99 cents plus shipping. And the shipping, if I remember right, the shipping was capped. Yeah, the shipping was capped at $5.85. So I got a lot. Mostly Batman. A lot of modern Batman. So this first one is, normally I wouldn't grab this. The art doesn't turn me on or anything, but it was a trade paperback of Black Canary. First volume. So complete paperback for 99 cents. I mean, how do you pass that up no matter what it is? So so there's that. And then we have Quest Probe #1. Remember, this was a big deal because it was based on a video game at the time. It's by Bill Mantlo, Mark Grunwald, and John Romita. So this is #1. The whole series is here. We got #2, which I think I showed this one recently because I had another copy of #2. Somebody got it. And here's #3. And I think that's the whole series. So fun. Very cool. Got the official handbook of the Marvel Universe Master Edition. So this is the loose leaf format where you could like peel them off from the brief binding and use them. It's still sealed. It's brand new. Again, not really something I was looking for, but for 99 cents, yeah, I'll take it. Mighty Marvel Western #29, featuring Rawhide Kid, Matt Slade, and the Two Gun Kid. Y'all know I love my Marvel Westerns, so kind of beat up, rolled a little bit, but fun stuff. Darkhawk #13, Venom cover. Sensational Spider-Man -1, the flashback issue. I love the flashback issues. They're a lot of fun. Batman Chronicles #22, starring Lady Shiva, the world's deadliest assassin. Also starring the spoiler and Talia, daughter of the demon. Batman Chronicles #20, Catwoman crosses paths with the relative heroes. Also inside, Robin meets Jade, Nightwing teams with Supergirl. Batman Chronicles #19, 2 all-new tales from Batman's past, plus the Huntress. Batman Chronicles 18, Spiritual Currency, part of the No Man's Land event. And Batman Chronicles 17, also part of the No Man's Land event. And looks like they're looking for Man-Bat Boy or something. All right, that's it for today's episode, guys. I'm going to try and keep it around 30 minutes. I do have a whole bunch more from this sale that we can go through tomorrow. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.